Everybody, we are one. Everybody, we are one. We are one. We are one.
Welcome to the Hughes Roundtable.
Everybody.
I'm Michael Hughes.
I'm Michaela Hughes.
And I'm Nina Hughes.
Welcome, everybody. welcome. We're here today to give a glimpse into Michaela's life. We're interviewing Michaela today.
Yes.
We're interviewing her. This episode is called The Graduate, and I couldn't wait to do this episode. I was excited about doing this episode because you graduated from college.
Yeah.
That's why we named it The Graduate. She graduated from college, and here's the one and only. You know, in previous podcasts, we talked about Michaela doing this episode, The Graduate. And we're going to dove into it, about the struggles she had, the never giving up, you know, how she really didn't want to go to college, you know, but she hung on in there, she endured, she persevered, and now she has that degree. And if you, to further understand and to go into more detail, we did a previous podcast, that's audio only. We did a podcast called Transitions of Life with Dan Mine. We did that, and they talked, going in depth with a college friend of hers about college. Should you go to college? Should you not go to college? And things of that nature. So we're going to dove into it, but first we want to give a lyric alert. A lyric alert by Travis Green called You Waited. I think this sums up, you know, and goes right along with your college journey. And the lyric alert states, you waited. You never gave up on me. You waited there patiently. You waited. And the song is beautiful.
It is.
Yes.
It talks about waiting. Yes. We happen to wait. We have been being made to wait. Mm-hmm. And God, this song in particular talks about God waiting on him to come into his perfect will for his life and things of that nature. You know, and the song goes on and say, where would I be? Yeah, without you and without you having to wait on me, where would you be? He even goes into depth, y'all, about saying you waited there patiently. And then the song, this is a chorus of Travis Green. We love Travis Green. It talks about, I'm so glad you waited. God waited on him is what the song is saying. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
You know, talking about never giving up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your journey started, you had a, academics was a challenge.
Yeah.
It was a challenge. Especially after, I don't think it's wrong with us saying, especially after Mansion School with the owners. We were real close with the owners, James and Pete and D. James.
Yeah.
They were like a mother and father to you. Are you getting ready to start calling?
No.
Tissues?
No.
To talk about that?
No.
You know, after the 5th grade, we were in limbo. All the parents were. This is a private school. All the parents were in limbo because they wanted, because Mansion only went from what?
At the time, it was just the 5th grade.
It started, was it infants? Did they have infants there?
No, they had preschool.
Preschool
which is
to 5th grade. And after the 5th grade, those kids, man, they're gonna go to public school, charter school. Most of the time, they're homeschooled where they lived at, or things like that. You know, more times than not. A few of the kids did go transition on to other private schools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But after that, we had to get her in the 6th grade. Nina, remember? 6th grade. No school we couldn't find. So after that, she's the only child. Just to set everything up, she's the only child, and she didn't want to leave us. But we had that. That's when it started. I think.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I absolutely agree.
Because Mansion, she loved, that's her favorite.
It was. We loved it too.
Yes.
We loved it too.
Wonderful foundation.
Yeah.
And the comfort of home.
Yeah.
By her being an only child, so that was a good transition from being in child care to going to Mansion.
Right.
Because it was a comfort for her.
Yeah.
We're good people. It's a great school. Still a great school.
It's still a great school.
And
Those are
he
some-
still says that people struggle because it's like a shelter.
Yeah.
Like you go into a culture shock
Mm-hmm.
every time you switch school. But from Mansion to middle school, she still says that parents struggle to find good schools. It's just a great school.
Yeah.
Great foundation.
Yeah. Because their kids went there. Pete and Clinton went
They
there.
did.
Yes.
They went there, ended up going to DeSales. We're in Columbus, Ohio, by the way, for people that we send this out, to in other states. We're in Columbus, Ohio, and this was a very, I don't know that building, I don't know, because it used to be a nursing home. I don't know if but it's a national treasure to me.
Yeah.
It's a landmark to me, that building. It really is in a mansion.
Yeah.
It's a big old mansion sitting on Long and Woodland, I want to say. I mean, it was one of the best experiences for the parents and for the child. Yeah.
Exhilarated classes.
Yes. Critical thinking.
You
That's
definitely, you come out of there smarter than you came.
No doubt.
And that's why people go, like Clinton went to DeSales,
Mm-hmm.
their other son Peter went to St. Charles. I ended up going to Bishop Hartley for some time until my senior year. So, I think most people ended up going to really good schools after that. And I went to a charter middle school. I still went to a good middle school.
Yeah.
And everything, so it definitely sets the bar, sets a tone for the rest of your life. It's a great foundation.
Well, Pete and Clinton went to Morehouse.
Yes,
And so did their fathers.
Yeah.
And Miss D went to Spelman.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing. They know as far as education goes and all of that. You said you went to Bishop Hartley?
Until my senior year.
Until your senior year. And
A great Catholic school, one of the best Catholic schools in Columbus.
And that was that started right after that.
Yeah.
Your senior year, it's a because we understand when you get away from high school and get ready, that time right there it's happy, but it's also very, very trying.
Mm-hmm.
It's the word I would say. And challenging, because you do not know where you're going. You do not know what you want to do. Some people don't want to go to college. Some people do. Some people go to military. Some people go to mid-major colleges. Some people go to Harvard, Yale, and things of that nature. You were in. I'm going to say you were on Tomor at that part, your senior season, and rightfully so. And not for the reasons that people are normally in turmoil.
Yeah.
Like guys, girls, things of that nature.
Yeah.
All of that was you.
I agree.
Yeah. All of that was you as we look back, just to give y'all a little glimpse and a little detail of how the academic challenge started and why you didn't. So why didn't you want to go to college?
Well, I'll say this. This is going to be a tough conversation because everything's going to be in depth. So excuse my language for a moment, but just to speak more, just to piggyback off of what you were talking about, when you have a perspective and you're choosing to stick with that perspective of whatever is in front of you, it's hard to leave that, especially at like 16, 17, 18. Abandon that and find a new perspective of that thing. So my perspective of school and academics was just not very good. Socially, I'm very introverted, and I was trying to find my way, around that, being yourself. What does that even mean? Typical self-awareness, self-consciousness types of things that every teenager goes through. So, and while having that, trying to be the cool kid and trying to just work my way socially, and try and find some comfortableness in that, trying to do school at the same time doesn't work. So when you grow up in a household that is very clear on what the rules are, and go to school, get your work done and everything else, but then when you go to school, ain't nobody doing their work, and your perspective is, well, I want to be like them. So by not being like them, you have to do what they're doing, which is not doing their work or playing in class and stuff like that, and all that type of stuff. And because we're Christians, I have to add that, when I was in middle school, I dealt with a lot of just wrestling with spiritual things and my spirit versus everyone else's spirit. And my discernment for my age was extremely high, and walking into a room and being able to feel those things, and on a daily basis, to me, it was constantly a choice. Like, am I picking to be like them or against them? How can I go to school and focus when I'm dealing with all of these things? And as I got older, even understanding the way my mental makeup, what that is made of. So that's a whole nother topic of, your spirituality, your mental and your emotional perspective of what's going on. And it's kind of a constant culture shock for you because you're learning and you're a kid. So that perspective, just a whole bunch of confusion, to be quite honest, and a lot of disobedience. My one regret is that I just didn't listen, because yes, I understood what my parents were saying, but I wasn't trusting myself enough to apply it and just go in there and get my work done. So it was just a whole bunch of mess going on. And so I took that, and it wasn't that I didn't want to do better. It was just kind of like a mountain versus a little kid in my head. Like, how do I achieve this? And it wasn't like I didn't know how. Again, it was just the applying it part. Yeah, so and that's how it feels. It was heavy. It was just a heavy time.
She's graduated now, but that's what she took in.
To begin in the beginning. Yeah.
And me and your mother, we went to college. I went to 3. Your mother went to Columbus State with me, and I went to one in California and one here.
Yeah.
So we wanted you to go to college.
And complete it.
And graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complete.
That's what we wanted for you, and we wanted it more for you than you wanted for yourself, until you could grab a hold of it. Not that you didn't want it, but you had to catch up, as Pastor Tillman told you. You had to catch up. Now, on the previous episode, we was talking about your 5-fold major. You had 5. Tell the people what you majored in and everything your what you majored in came along with your major.
So
it's pretty broad.
yeah, it's huge. Journalism and media production. So that's literally every aspect of media you can think of. So it's radio, video production, all of your broadcasting. If you think of sports, that's usually what people think of.
Newspapers.
News, writing, literally journalism. So I'm writing. If I want to write a book, like, freehand poetry, the more in-depth creativity, that as well. And then I minored in theater. So writing scripts for theater, the actual backstage production, being a part of the cast, all of that type of stuff. So anything you think of when you think of media, all of that.
So when you go into college, all of this is going into college. And most of the time, you don't know yourself fully. You have to grow into what you are. Because most people that go to college don't know what they want to major in.
No.
And if they just test out things right there. One of the things that college teaches you is time management.
Yeah.
If you're horrible about time management, you better hurry up and get good and right with it, because you running out of time. The very day you step onto their campus, you don't have no time. This is why people sleep a lot in college. Now, going back a little bit, we tried to prepare her, would you agree, Nina? The best we could by taking her to colleges and showing her, and hopefully she would get the vibe of colleges, huge colleges, and here in Ohio, and New York, and Chicago. You can't get no bigger than New York and Chicago, by the way. And we have one of the biggest colleges here too, Ohio State University. So we took her there, walked her around, just to get her mentally prepared so she could buy in. One of the things I want to say is these kids do not get through college on their own. They need so much support. This is one of the reasons why I didn't finish and you didn't either. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Because like Michaela was saying, the transitioning of it all. Sometimes you may leave the home and the parents are, you out there, you're on your own now because this is your thing. But we kept in constant contact.
Yeah. When you say constant, what do you mean by that?
Well, at that particular time,
freshman year,
I was not, I did not do any texting. And I still am at a minimum of texting because my key communication is talking.
Okay.
That's what I enjoy doing. And Michaela and I had discussed the texting because she was already texting at the time. And I said, okay, with classes and her being in between, that would be okay. But we knew that Michaela was uncomfortable, but we're close anyway.
right?
But she would call because that was a request, because I want to hear the tone in the voice.
Right.
And I want to see what I hear and what I know from conversations as if she was here. So that's why the talking was important. But Michaela would call, and she would call in between classes, she would text, and then she would call in the evening, and we would be on the phone in the evenings, and then we got to where you would FaceTime.
And she would be on the radio.
And she would be on the radio.
For 4 years, the college had a radio station, and we were able to listen to it on the radio, her broadcasting live doing her show.
And
from 7 to 8 most of the time.
7 to 8.
And Sundays for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I said, we stood on that radio thing, and we listened to it for 3 hours on Sundays.
Yeah.
That's what we did now.
Support it.
Yeah.
And what was surprising, I think, to us, and I don't know if it was to Michaela, and I don't think we've ever had the conversation, if she thought she was going to get to a place out of the 4 years where she was like, I'm good, I'll check in every now and then, but that never happened.
No.
Because some students go, and maybe by sophomore or junior year, because we would be talking to parents and it was like, well, I haven't heard from them.
Well, she didn't want to be
Haven't
there.
talked to them.
She didn't want to be there,
That
period.
sounds crazy to me.
She didn't want to be there.
But we're tight knit too.
And,
Yeah, true.
and she was only an hour away,
Yeah.
so we drove her there.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew what it took to get her through.
Yeah. We had to stay that connection.
Because we knew what we didn't have.
If we had lost that connection, she may not have made it out.
Absolutely.
She may not have made it out.
No, I don't think I would have graduated if it wasn't.
Because it was a key component, and because you kept following through on doing it, so it had to be reciprocal. We couldn't act as if you were not calling. You know, we had to take the time to say, this is what's needed. It wasn't really a crutch, it was a support system.
Yeah.
And we didn't understand to the degree of what it meant,
Right.
but also out of love, that this is what's needed. So it's not so much as something that you're doing and you're looking and saying, is this a good thing? Well, at the time, this is what she's in need of. So this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And riding up and down, didn't realize that, because at the time you weren't driving,
No.
No.
and we didn't know that we would be going up and down, picking up, dropping off,
Yeah.
you know, because we thought, you know, by the time college came or at some point, you'd have your driver's license and you'd be driving back and forth yourself.
And
Yeah.
that's a good thing. It's a good thing she didn't drive to college. Because there's so many things that if she had done it, I don't think she would have made it through.
That's
If she was
Yeah.
driving,
I would have ran away, just got in the car.
that's true. Or she would have came home and never went back up there.
Yeah.
Because she did not want to go. This is why we're having
No.
this episode and we're focusing on her graduating. You know, this is her testimony. Because out of all the places that Michaela had challenges in, this was the one.
Yeah.
The very one. Michaela was cool at everything else. But this academics, and we refused to allow it to beat her and us. We refused. I mean, we had some ups and downs. You know, especially at Bishop Hartley, because let's be honest, we had to pull you out of Bishop Hartley.
Yeah.
And you left a private school and went right down the street to a public school on a ridge, and you, instead of us picking you up and dropping you off and picking you up from school, you had to walk home.
Builds character. That builds
She had to walk home. And that's good for a thinker, because not only is she creative, but she's a left brain This is all stuff we learned in
I'm
study.
passing you up doing this.
She's a thinker, she's left-handed, and she's a creative person. So we invested in her and tried to learn her character all the way up through college. We knew when she was broken.
Yeah.
We knew when she was sad and sorrowful and humiliated. We knew a lot, but I mean, you know, she's our only child. So we're hoping that by what we're saying can help your children that are in a freshman, sophomore, junior year, or getting ready to go into college. We're helping as parents, trying to tell you and show you what these kids just might be going through. They're trying to become adults, the very best that they can. And what you put in them, that's what they will get out of it, hopefully, if you're going to invest. Say you got 2 and 3 kids, man. You're going to have to magnify that all the way. Just like when those kids were born.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same principle. When they were born, you had to stop doing whatever you was doing all the attention went to them. You know what I mean? If you want them to be successful, you're going to have to pour into them. You know, the very best that you're going to have to give 1,000%. And even then, that still is not a guarantee with a father and a mother. Because if that child does not buy in, we stayed on her about buying in. We tried to allow her to see. To see what she didn't have and what she can. It had to matter to her. Had to matter to her. You know, I just wanted to say that, you know, as you're talking, man, because it was so important to us. And now she's graduated, y'all. You know, she's driving. You know, those are the fruits of your labor. She's driving. She's got a job. I mean, this young lady is so blessed. And yes, she is my daughter, and I'm supposed to say that. But it goes beyond that. She is.
It's Michaela. We like to thank all of our subscribers for your love and support. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and make sure you share this video with someone. We always want to keep encouraging others. Thank you so much. Bye.